challenge number 9, visiting day. Okay, and this is all about one production that fits every need. So how do you make a broadcast, make a video conference, and make sure it fits every audience, every which way? And to bring our moderator up for this panel, I'm going to invite Rachel Silveria, who comes right here. She's here right at the Anza, and she is the film and television professor and the SMPTE faculty advisor. Great to meet you again, and bring all your panelists with you, okay?
Thank you for having me. I'm Rachel Silveria. I'm a director, a dance artist, and a professor here at Anza College, where I teach film production. And as Robin mentioned, I'm also a SMPTE faculty advisor. Because of my background, I'm especially excited to join these 3 experts who are actively finding new ways to manage the shifting landscape. The format challenge is not getting easier, and there is no one single answer. So we're here today to share insights and strategies and see what's working on the ground. So let's welcome our 3 panelists, Ebru, Mitch, and Brian. Okay, I'm going to let you guys each introduce yourselves. Let's start with Ebru.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I'm Ebru. I am founder and CEO of Ollang. For those who were not in the beginning of the day, we are doing AI language execution layer, and the name of the company I'm running is Ollang. Comes from all languages. Yeah, for now.
Yeah, Brian Ring. My company is Ring Digital LLC, and I do a lot of work helping companies in the media and entertainment software business and hardware, but primarily software, grow their businesses, primarily marketing and sales. And then as of this year, agentic coding, basically, that's, I think, taking over the software piece of it. So a lot of people talk about AI. My journey here, and I'm really thankful for Robin and Marty, it was about 5 or 6 years ago. Companies now called Signiant, prior is Levels Beyond, Reach Engine. There's probably people in this room. And I was hired to write a paper for them, The Rise of the Corporate Studio. And so, yeah, I've been passionate about that track for a long, long time, and watching it evolve to the point, I think this has been referenced earlier, like the enterprise standards are like faster and looser and easier to play with, so it's kind of a fun idea. Yeah, all the way to today, I have a lot of passion in enterprise video and taking the learnings from the media space. So I did a lot of stuff in sports and news, and you realize, like, even with sports, you record the game, you don't watch the whole thing live. So in marketing, as a marketer, I want to implore everybody, do not put your webinars out on demand. They must be condensed. There's tons of tools to do that today, including one called VideoBrief.ai, which I built. So that's what I'm here to do, is help bring the learnings from how to keep people's attention in the media world and bring that into enterprise so that all enterprises can become a media company.
Nice one. I'm Mitch, and unlike that picture, I smile. So first off, yeah. I work at Salesforce. I lead a team called Streamforce, so we manage internal broadcasts and streaming and keynotes of all of our internal and external events, partnering with many, many different groups within Salesforce. So what I tend to bring is the technical aspect and seeing what the corporate structure is like, and some of the fun challenges we have today's world with AI and the cool things that we're bringing in today's world. So, nice one.
Great. Welcome. Let's begin with the friction point. So we're hearing a lot about seamless multi-platform distribution. But when corporate RFPs are demanding anything to 16:9 master, vertical crop, or stadium screens like the World Cup, satisfying these formats, they become a heavy operational lift. So let's hear from our panelists. Let's start with Ebru. What is your technical framework for using AI to automate these formatting demands? And how do you build a pipeline that scales to this volume without losing the original asset?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So for this question, I'll always look from localization perspective. So what happens right now within the enterprises, they generate a lot of content because they need to grow. And in my session during morning, I mentioned every company is becoming a media company, not because they want to become all Netflix, because they have to take the attention from the audience. And while doing that, they have a lot of different file formats, a lot of different content types. These could be like Instagram stories, TikTok stories, or like YouTube videos, and those could be between different departments, right? It could be for customer education series, it could be for marketing, or it could be investor relations, etc. And whenever we look at from this angle, the purpose from our side is like, how do we localize these files? And if we have different file formats, different departments, different tools, AI models out there, that creates a lot of friction for the enterprises that we are working with. And then they have to like switch between different tools and models, and they have to bring things together, they have to add human in the loop process. For them, that's not solving the friction. That's like adding more and more friction. So from our perspective, the idea is like how we create an AI language execution layer. And instead of giving them another platform, how we become part of their own tech stack, and we create localization on the fly for them and make it easy, accessible, scalable, and cost efficient. I'll give you one example, one of the challenges that we are coming across with one of our customers. So this is a huge company in the industry of social media. They are creating videos between 50 seconds to 60 seconds. Those videos are like basically marketing videos. And there are some on-screen text. There are some animations, their own brand guidelines, specific like colors, red, yellow, that they are using. And they have to get these videos, like 50-second videos, localized to 53 languages every single day. And imagine, they are generating hundreds of these short videos every single day. So for them, one of the most important things is quality, because they have their own rules. They cannot just randomly localize through AI and throw it out there and wait for the audience to say something wrong about it, right? Even if they say Happy International Women's Day, they have to say it culturally adapted into that specific language, if it's Turkish or French or German, whatever language they are localizing. And before using Ollang, what they were doing is like they had translation agencies in different countries, and then they were sending these files through Google Drive or Dropbox, and these translation agencies were hiring freelancers and sending these videos to them after signing NDAs. These people, they write down in a Word file, because it's only like a couple of sentences, send back to the translation agency. Translation agency has their own QC team. They would put in a like Excel file or Google Excel file, whatever, send back to the team, who is the head of localization within the corporate we are working with. And then he has internal video teams. These teams, they do not speak any other language apart from English and their own native language, but they have to put these localized sentences into the videos to make sure the formats are in the right way, if it's Japanese or if it's like Chinese, etc. This process took over like millions of dollars, plus minimum 2 weeks for one video to generate in 53 languages. And after using us, they were like, oh, still I get human in the loop process, but everything is run at the execution layer, and they invite people. Agents are first running these localization, and we can get the branding, the design, etc. done correctly. So it's only approval and human or expert in the loop, as we were talking with a friend over here, expert in the loop whenever and wherever necessary. This saves them tons of time. This also gives them a lot of control and flexibility. This hybrid methodology is the one actually is working from the format challenges. But this doesn't eliminate the other challenges that we're having whenever it comes to live broadcasting for localization, for example. Sometimes they want to have live localization within like Microsoft Teams. Sometimes they want to have it like within Zoom, or they want to do it over YouTube. Every different platform brings new challenges. Every new language brings new challenges. Japanese is completely different than Turkish and English. And whenever you are doing the investor earning calls, guess what? You have to get things right. You cannot just make up something out of these numbers. So those are some of the challenges that we are tackling, and I hope it was not boring, but it's, as you can see, we are having a lot of fun working with these corporate companies.
Wow. Thank you, Ebru. Brian, as enterprise teams try to solve this format challenge on a larger scale, they face the classic dilemma. Do you build a custom in-house media engine to handle these complex format pipelines? Or do you deploy a pre-built SaaS solution?
Right.
From where you sit, how should enterprise leaders evaluate that build versus buy decision?
I didn't see this one, but it does feel pretty appropriate. I mean, like right now, that's like a huge question. When people talk about the SaaS apocalypse, that's what they're talking about. There are many ways. First of all, many SaaS companies are run like insurance companies. There's not the old traditional rule of software. We come in, the whole discipline of software is, how many use cases can I stack up across this incredibly complex surface? I worked at a company, they went public, it's a great company called Amagi. They have 1,000 engineers in India, and the way they succeeded was saying yes. And if you're a true software guy, then you know what I'm about to say is like, yeah, because they were really selling hosted solutions, not SaaS. We're now just literally 5, 6, 7 years from that, and just this year, I'm telling you that hopefully everyone's getting super excited. Like, this is coming. I can build, I'm not saying they're going anywhere, but I am saying that like for one customer comes in the door, I probably can get pretty close. For a lot of other customers that are miserable and feel locked in, that's gonna be pricing pressure for them. And then we come to enterprise where it's like, yeah, I've been watching this for a long time, and I'm not quite sure based on the question I just asked the two gentlemen, like for sure within the next 12, 18 months, I think enterprise video teams are going to have a tremendous capability to build amazing workflows. Videobrief.ai is one as an example. You go to ringdigital.tv/videobrief. There was a conference at NAB called the Streaming Summit. I got permission from Dan Rayburn. He's a thought leader in the space. I put 10 of his videos in there. They're diarized. They're like, collapsed, top tells. You can go in, you can hit a player, and you can go, you see the guy, Schur, who did the Mets and the opera, next. So that idea of like the immense content that you have in corporate, and I probably would split between training and other things, but if your job is to get someone's attention, I don't care if they're buying your cloud, Snowflake or whatever, you're trying to get someone's attention, you've got to have great content clipped in the right way, in the right format, right? And I think that's super critical, and we're gonna see video just explode, I think, in the enterprise because of this. I'm not saying go out and build yourself if you think, some random whatever, but like, if there's a guy or two or if a gal, et cetera, coming into your office and like, hey, we're doing lots of, like, I would definitely be paying attention. For sure.
Great, thank you. Mitch, Salesforce was a pioneer in video broadcasting your earnings calls and turning that data into multi-platform content. When you're transforming brand-sensitive assets in various formats on a deadline, does the automated pipeline handle the load? And are you still relying on manual engineering?
That's a really good question. I think it can go in any direction depending on who you are and what the team is and what the content is. For Salesforce, we want to streamline engineering processes. We want to find ways of minimizing the engineering hours and the manual labor processes to giving more time to focus on the emotional output in those moments. And I think that's the missing element with AI today, is AI and all of these tools that are out there, they're great for helping service these hours, but they're not going to provide the human output, the emotion behind the output and what we deliver in the media world. And that's always going to require a human element. And so, yeah, I mean, look, in our space, we're doing multiple different experiments. We're looking at ways of reducing these hours. We are looking at distribution and how we distribute that better across the globe with multiple different languages. That's a definite challenge of ours. But we've got manual processes that we'll always keep in place to have control and to control that feeling in human nature. So,
that's really nice to hear. All right, now that we've heard from everyone, let me ask you all the main question. How do we make one original production fit every delivery format? And I'm also curious, personally, how do we maintain creative intent in the process? Let's open it up.
I think that's kind of what I was talking about, is that there's not one formula for all of this. There's not one system that fits everything. We are in a transitional state. We're learning about what tools can do. We're learning about how it is involved in our everyday lives and our work lives. And I don't think that today there's a true answer to this. There's hypotheticals and possibilities, and I know there's many companies and representatives of those companies here that are experimenting, and everybody wants to be the leader at this, and I think by no doubt we'll get there. But I'm a firm believer of human element is always needed and should be needed, because there is an emotional factor to output content that needs to be considered in everything that we do. And that can be multiple languages, that can be the look and feel. Minimizing the manual task should be the focus here. Is engineering tasks, manual configurations, templatizing is always great, but allowing us to be in the moment and building streamlined processes is what we should be really thinking about with these tools.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, since I was so bullish on the AI, like, don't get me wrong, I'm a Super Bowl on human in the loop at the center. I think what people have wrong about AI is that artificial general intelligence, no. Right? When I'm doing my stuff in coding, or if you're doing creative, I do a lot of writing, it's miserable hard work. And anyone who's worked with these tools knows that. It's just that I come from a stage where, like, wow, I just produced like what 2 years ago was at least $5 million of software. Like, that's the only change. It's not that it's not, it's easy or whatever. The humans need to be in the loop. And to the main question, I would say, from my standpoint of like thinking of a major sport event, there's so much pre-planning. Right? And so I think that's kind of one part of it, is like a lot of planning ahead of time. Another part of it is just sort of like what's so fun about media and entertainment, and maybe enterprise has a little bit less of this, to be honest, is that like I was playing around with, does everyone know what fast channels are? Like 600 free channels, all kinds of content, everything. And I just do this as my work, and you could just go through that deck, and every single channel's different content, different storytelling, different things I might do with it. You know what I mean? And so what I think that says is that like there really isn't a kind of one size fits all. And what's interesting about this business is you start from where's the human, where's that eyeball, what's that attention, what's the content and storytelling cadence here? Is this like a 15, a 30, et cetera? And then kind of build up from there. And if you are doing a big game, sport, newscast, et cetera, then not only are you doing the pre-planning and post for like planning, but then it becomes execution. So you're planning ahead of time, but you're also doing a little social, this or the other, and then you do it, and then you knew that before you were going to catch XYZ clips and get them back into the mix. You knew downstream there were 30 different CTV devices, so you had to get maybe some intermediary there to do a little bit of mixing of the streams, and then you got this one platform called Instagram that wants your vertical. Okay, now maybe I plug in a startup or do an AWS or something. So I mean, that's kind of a big picture, like how I would see most events happen, but that's not to say you don't end up with lots of scenarios where they're like, yeah, we have this library, we're trying to get it into vertical, taking meetings all day long, but we don't know exactly where to go. And we do want writers like writing in the hooks and things like that. So it's just, it's hard to do in a one size fits all, I guess, in the biz.
Yeah. And from my perspective, there are two questions that you ask, and I want to unpack them. The first question is like how we turn one like video pipeline, how we can create one video, enterprise video pipeline, and the second question is creativity. So the first part, I believe the most efficient way is integrating into enterprise's tech stack. This is why we are extremely bullish on saying we are the infrastructure company and we are AI language execution layer. And enabling our API, MCP, or the technical guidance to them so that we can integrate into their own tech stack gives them a lot of scalability, and they manage the pipeline. They create it, because if you go to Salesforce and then say, hey, this is the tool you're going to use, like sign up there, etc., then there becomes a lot of security compliance issues, how they're going to sign up, the SSO, this and that, etc. But whenever their team, engineering team, is integrating at the execution layer, one, things become extremely scalable and fast. Second, it becomes more cost efficient. Third, they have the control and they can manage things, and it's easier to manage all these pipeline under one single place. I think 2 sessions ago, Jeremy was mentioning right now every company is becoming kind of like everything is becoming under CTO because marketing is buying AI tools, and then sales is buying AI tools, AI agents, localization team is buying AI tools. So who is approving all these stuff? In the end of the day, it's CTO. So you have to, I think we have to find a way to create that execution layer within the enterprise's tech stack. It will make things way easier for them, and that's our purpose. This is our reason of existence, right? To make things simple and easy for the companies we are working with. And the second question was about creativity. How do we still preserve it? So one thing that I've been thinking, especially I've been in the localization industry for more than 15 years. I studied translation back in college, and then I did my master's in international business, and then I worked at companies like Accenture and IKEA. So I've seen localization from different seats, like linguist seat, buyer seat, and then I had my own translation company, service company. Now I'm an AI founder. So seeing this from different angles, I have to admit, it's not a fun job. There are so many like mundane, repetitive, and boring jobs that I was literally crying while doing. And those things, they don't need creativity, they need automation. And I don't want to convert SRT file to SCC every single day. It's boring, repetitive, I'm not learning anything. However, having said that, in localization, there are different aspects. If you are localizing product, if you are localizing manuals or guidelines versus you are localizing marketing videos, more creative videos, there it requires extreme power of human intelligence, how to say things, how to take the attention from the audience. There we need to like lean on more and understand how we can use the expert in the loop. Because if we are working with a healthcare company, health tech company, then obviously we need experts from the healthcare industry like doctors or pharma people who can also be creative from that angle. So I think still giving this freedom and flexibility within the platforms where people can bring their creativity and enabling them is one important aspect. And how we see from our perspective is deploying intelligent human-in-the-loop process where AI is saying, hey, this is a job that I have done 100 times. I have 100% confidence level. I can do this. And then this part is something new. I don't know how to do it. And then AI says, I need a human expertise here. So this is how we figured it out, and still so many things to learn about and implement. But we are always open for the ideas. But one thing that we've seen is human creative needs to stay there whenever and wherever necessary. If we bring human creativity for the manual files, then it would be also like not maybe efficient use of the budget.
Great, thank you. So sitting here today, I realized there's something really unique about having all these great minds in the room. And I realized a lot of these sessions, a lot of these panelists, a lot of what's happening, what's being talked about is connected to this format challenge, what we're talking about. And I'm just curious, is any of it standing out to you? Any points that were made today by other panelists, what they're doing, what they're experimenting with? Can you see us starting to connect the dots on this subject matter?
I mean, I think that everybody right now, this is great form, by the way, that we're able to all talk ideas and come up with some solutions. We're in a transitional state, and I think that this is the idea. Let's throw ideas on the board. Let's see how we lead together as one community, and what lands for all of us. You know, let's learn from each other and give ideas. So I'm starting to see brainstorming happening. I'll just be curious to see what is that next phase, what is that next evolution for us all together. But it's really nice to be here to hear it all.
Yeah. Brian, is there anything specific, though, that kind of stood out to you today that you could see a collaboration evolving?
Collaboration involving?
You could see two companies in here starting to work together to create some kind of solution for this format challenge.
Sure there are, yes. I mean, I guess that's a vibe question. I'm feeling good vibes. I think a lot of people that I ask, I think it's like, oh, agentic coding, and then I don't hear much, and then I go up to people like, oh, are you doing anything? And they'll tell me their project. Oh, I'm a D&D thing, I did this, that, and the other, or I did this, that, and the other. So I actually do think there's a ton of great energy. I guess in the enterprise, I don't know the enterprise. I have a client, I have someone in the pipeline that's an enterprise company, and the media business is secondary for them. And for me, it's gold, because they're like, oh, well, we can experiment with our media stack. And I'm like, oh, that's good, because none of my other clients want to experiment with their media stack. So I think enterprise, I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of fear, and I don't know. But I mean, everybody I talk to, whether they're trying to, has anybody tried to download all their LinkedIn contacts? Show of hands. If you try to download your thousands of LinkedIn contacts, they won't have emails in them. They won't have emails. So every salesperson I know, I'm telling like, oh, you should just hook up this thing and get this thing so that you can do your job more efficiently, where you're just clicking a button and boom, the LinkedIn opens up. Like that's just saving you 30 seconds every time. If that happens in every function of every company, I think that's where we're headed. So I don't know, that's not answering your question, but I see some cool things coming.
I was just trying to provoke an answer. Thank you. Really quick as we wrap up, let's start with you, Ebru. One key takeaway for the audience to go home with.
One thing that I realized since the beginning of the day is like all of us, we have one mutual goal, which is like to enable growth for the companies we are working with. Either we are from the enterprise side or from the vendor side or AI provider side. And then I think there are so much, like so many opportunities that still like needs unpacking. And I think mixing human creativity with the AI automation is going to enable the next stage of growth for every one of us.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I love the whole media as an enterprise thing. I think Salesforce has been a leader. Cloudflare has a TV service. So, I mean, I think we're at a moment in time here where like secular idea or trend is really hitting a tipping point, as was said earlier. So, yeah, just keep in mind that content is king. So no matter who it is or whatever it is, and I'll give that as a hard lesson, by the way, growing up in LA, being in the media business, like, if you're running a webinar, right, you probably have a great product guy, they need to be nailed, but like all the presentation stuff, right? Making it like a TV show, so no one's gonna lose their attention. I think that's a big thing to try to do in the enterprise.
Love it.
Yeah, 100% on that, by the way. Yeah, I think, look, there's great minds here, and don't be afraid of sharing your ideas. I think there needs to be more collaboration or more opportunities of sharing your ideas collectively without fear of losing your intellectual property. We're all going to grow in this together as one community, and it's a small community. So support one another, and this, I mean, I love this forum, so thank you for having me.
Definitely good vibes. Thank you so much, panelists, for sharing your insights, and thank you for listening. Enjoy the rest of summer camp.